It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where, unlike the other crypto channels where they give you stale, boring information, they pretend to be fun and exciting. We actually deliver on those promises by taking that stale information and repackaging it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, we look at the price of Bitcoin, which is under 30,000. I know. But it's up $100 from where we were yesterday doing the show. Take it for what you want. And then we also have our boy Forrest from Sistine Research. He's been holding it down here as our co-host for the week. And today's the final day. David will be back, but we still have you, penciled in on our normal Fridays. But I want to give an extended thank you and the chat and community and myself and Rocco. Thank you for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. We love it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure hopping on here. I'm happy to cover whenever someone's gotta be absent. So it's always a pleasure. This is a great channel.
Right now, the only thing absent lately is the federal government. They have been absent from doing their job, and well, they just put in new tools to control us lately. So we're gonna get into CBDCs. What the Fed has got going on. They're actively hiring for a CBDC position. It's on Indeed. So if you're looking for a six-figure position where you can control the slavery of money, as we call it, the CBDC, well, look no further than Indeed. It's posted right now. And then also, not only is the US, but there are several countries moving forward through their CBDC. So we're going to discuss that, what that means for you and what it means for the crypto markets. Also, the meme coins, that market is absolutely on fire lately. Well, on fire, relatively speaking. Most of the market is consolidating, trading sideways, and range bound. Well, meme coins got a little action. Is it because X and the new Twitter rebranded social media platform is it's speculating that they're going to try to take over the world with their WeChat version of Twitter, where they integrate financial payments, and everyone just assumes that Doge will be the go-to payment for that said service. Now, before we get too far, and also, there's no David today, but I got some conspiracy theories. So if you want to hear, yeah, you see that bullhorn? So if you want to hear about our or Big Rob's conspiracy theory, man, I think the government is run by a bunch of puppeteers, and I'll get into why that is here in a moment as well. But first, let's open it up with some sponsorship shout-outs. We are brought to you in our 4K live stream by Cam's Blue Wire Tech. So if you were running a business, internet, which most businesses have that, and you need infrastructure, IT, or security, well, look no further than Blue Wire Tech. Their link is in the description down below. Now, I want to get into some funnies or some. This one's really not funny. This one's more like
it's funny.
It is funny, but okay. It's like anyways. I'm gonna let it speak for itself.
Let's
okay,
see what it is.
All right, here we go. We got the cameraman sacrificed his job, and big shout out to the cameraman. You got this pulled up there, Rocco?
There we go.
So, cameraman sacrificed his job. What do you think's going to happen here for us? I'm just kidding. This is
no
at
idea.
An airport. This is at an airport, and this lady is like the head of travel. And anyways, here we go.
And just a final question here. Is there any sort of work being done with the airlines in order to get flights actually on time or not delayed as much? Just curious if there's any work happening there.
Yes. So we've seen almost a doubling in terms of improvement on-time performance since last year. That is a reflection of all the work that we've done across the ecosystem together with our partner airlines, with agencies, reducing processing time,
Literally
reducing
one
wait times,
on-time
and
flight.
fine-tuning operations with our air carrier partners. And we see the great results that have come from that.
And just
Oh man.
Yeah, my man.
Like, what hypocrisy is that? You're over here touting how your infrastructure's on time and flights are not delayed, and then the cameraman pans up
That's
and
awful.
well. All right, and then for those of you who have issues getting out of bed, well, there's always different options on the alarm clock. Well, here's an interesting option if you got the eye crusties and you're tired of hitting the snooze button. Well,
You are lazy.
you got
And quit hitting snooze. Well, get up then. And take a shower for once.
so if you're lacking a wife that is mad at you and you decide to sleep in, and well, you can get a substitute and get a boxing glove. So. All right, so that's going to wrap it up on that segment. I do want to get into some of the crypto market overview. Our market overview segment is brought to you by I Trust Capital. And so if you're looking for Bitcoin, if you're looking to lock up your Bitcoin long-term and hide your tax vulnerability, pay your taxes up front, and not on the back end and pay capital gains, lock it up in a 401k or a Roth IRA. And we have a link to their description down in the description as well. All right. So Bitcoin is at $29,277. And you can kind of see where we're at if we take a look at the last 7 days here. And so we are below the 30K support and trading at 29,000. Is this one leg of a bigger pullback? I think it is possible. I don't think we're going to go as far down as, say, sub 25K, but I think it's on the table, especially with tomorrow's Fed meeting where we're expected to raise rates. Would not be surprised to see Bitcoin at 28,000 within the next week or so, and then perhaps testing 27,000. But I don't know. I still think we are on the upward trajectory. I just think this is a natural pullback and something a healthy consolidation, as they call it. And then we'll take a look at the charts here on that in a moment. But real quick, some of the biggest gainers. You got Dogecoin up 11.8% on the 24 hours, up 21%. And I know pre-show I was talking to Forrest, and my man put in some long positions on Doge yesterday. So I'm curious to see when you're planning on exiting, what the charts are telling you. Is there more to come, or is there other meme coins that might look enticing to you? Now, also MakerDAO up 8%, Theta up 6%, and then some of the biggest downfalls on the market: Casper down 6%, Mantle 2.6%, and ApeCoin down 2%. So not too much red as far as altcoins. A little bit more green in the markets today in the altcoin markets. So I'll almost send it over to you, Forrest. Is there any big outliers in the markets today outside of the meme coins? And what's the general thought on Bitcoin as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really, and I think we're going to touch on meme coins a little bit in more detail later on, but essentially what we're seeing is meme coins taking up an increasingly large amount of market share. And in my opinion, that's just due to the lack of volatility that we've had recently. So if you look at Bitcoin's price action here, like the crypto markets have just been pretty much dead, just very like these, even for like the last, from our top here for the last month or so, we've seen like an 8% correction from our local high. And yeah, this chart doesn't look amazing. It looks like we could correct further. We're running into resistance, but ultimately the market's bored and they want to speculate on something. And that's why I think that's what's contributing a large part, in my opinion, to some of the meme coins running. Obviously, we've got Doge in line with the Twitter X rebrand, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm going to make Bitcoin super, super simple here. So you've kind of got your downtrend line. If you're willing to cut out this peak and call that a deviation, this is where we're bumping up into resistance here, which is in line with our 31K margin pressure level resistance. Once again, I feel like I've repeated this every single day, but the reason we're struggling to get above 31,000 is because once price goes above 31,000, you can no longer go long on 2x leverage and maintain a liquidation point below our bear market low, right? Once we actually break through that, that's actually very bullish. Now, whether or not we're going to break through that downtrend line in 31K is to be determined, right? We have a pretty steep trend line going here. So we've seen just a massive rally out of Bitcoin so far this year, 104% since the bottom in November. So really all we want to pay attention to at this moment in time, to keep it very simple, are these trend lines. So this is our key level, our key zone of 31K to the upside. And then to the downside, we just draw our most recent trend line, right? And again, this is just keeping it extraordinarily simple. Right now, we're just kind of chopping around in this zone. We want to be bidding the bottom of this trend line, and we want to be looking for further upside if we get a Bitcoin ETF approval. Now, if we get bad news, Binance becomes insolvent, or the government sells off 40,000 Bitcoin or whatever the news is, and we break below this trend line, that's where we want to start getting bearish. That's where we want to start looking for short opportunities. That's where we need to make some difficult decisions moving forward to reposition ourselves to be in a position where if we do move back down to 25K, or 25K is up here, if we do move back down to the bottom of this range, or even to 18 to 20K, we need to make sure that we've got capital sidelined and ready. We need to make sure that we've taken profits on the bulk of this move. So look, a lot of people have been buying this move all the way up, and a lot of people have their stop losses on the outside of this trend line. So if we start breaking through this trend line, I would expect pretty high degree of likelihood that we start moving back down to like 25K, 24K, and testing some of these levels. So these are the two lines I'm paying attention to on Bitcoin. As long as we're below 31K and above, call it 27, between 27 and 31K. Now keep in mind, guys, from our local high of 31K, a correction down to 27.5, right? And really that it would be more like 27.8 or 28 if we just kind of drift down to this trend line. It's a 12% correction. Like a 12% correction is normal. It's healthy. It's nothing to panic about. So as long as we're between 27 and 31, I'm not going to be too worried. I'm going to be looking for opportunities elsewhere in the market. There'll be meme coins running. There will be individual opportunities that we can take advantage of to make money in the market. It's when Bitcoin breaks this trend line and starts, crashing. That's where you're going to get altcoins just crashing. That's where you can lose a lot of money if you're trying to speculate in other markets. So, just keep an eye on these two lines for Bitcoin. 27 to 31K. That's the range we want to stay in or above for right now.
Okay. All right. And then also, a couple other things popping off in the market. We do have a timeline when it comes to the SEC and Coinbase lawsuit. And so for those of you out of the loop, SEC is suing Coinbase, and it seems like they're having less and less things to stand on, because majority of this court case or lawsuit is essentially over the fact that Coinbase is selling illegal securities. But in the recent court case with Ripple Labs, they deemed that the digital assets themselves, or at least in the XRP scenario, are not securities in themselves, but can be used in securities contracts. So basically, it's fair game when it comes to digital assets and exchanges. They're just selling digital assets. Now, to take a look, we do have Meta Lawman has given us a little timeline here. So the SEC versus Coinbase update. Judge Faila, probably butchered that one, but has set a schedule on the briefing for Coinbase's motion on the judgment, August 4th. So in a couple weeks, we got Coinbase's open briefing We got amicus briefs as well by from the supporting Coinbase side. SEC opposition brief, amicus briefs supporting SEC, Coinbase reply brief. So this looks like just the opening arguments essentially is going to go out till October. So if you think that this lawsuit is going to be at all fast tracked or it's going to be resolved anytime in the near future, no. The opening briefs here go out till the end of October. So more than likely, well into 2024, if not 2025, before this has a resolution to be realistic. And now this does qualify as a fast schedule for a big case in the New York district. So even though we threw those numbers out, 2024, 2025, this is considered a fast schedule. So just to put in perspective how quickly the U.S. government moves when it comes to lawsuits in the SEC. Now, the SEC asked for 60 days to respond to Coinbase's motion, and the judge gave it only 30. So the SEC is looking to drag this out. There are some other highlights in here. I'm not going to go into those, but these are some of the major dates. Now, a couple other things to discuss. I wanted to shift the discussion point. I know you are a big NFT guy, or at least you're a little bit more plugged into the NFT ecosystem than I am myself personally. But this is just a visual representation of how far off of all-time high the blue chips are. Now, CryptoPunks at one point in time did sell for 125 ETH, now down to 49.9. Now, there wasn't so much of a buzz comparatively speaking from CryptoPunks to like Bored Apes, in my opinion. I feel like the true Bitcoin degens, the people that weren't quite speculating as high that had CryptoPunks, that didn't rally quite as much as the Bored Apes did. And for that reason, we've seen a bigger spill off or a bigger sell off on Bored Apes. And not to mention, CryptoPunks had the first mover advantage. So basically 50 ETH for a CryptoPunk, while the Bored Ape is under 33 ETH, and was at one time 153 ETH for that. Guys, that is absolutely insane. I'm not really sure it'll ever get back to its all-time high, my personal opinion. I don't look at this in the same way they do altcoins from one cycle to the other. And then some other notable ones in here as well. Azuki's down from 31 down to 5. We know that their latest Azuki rollout was an utter failure. And so that might have had a little bit to do with this giant spill off. So the mutant apes are down significantly, and so are the Azukis. And then everything else, there are a bunch of other ones here that are holding on to barely nothing. World of Women went from 13 to less than 1 ETH. That's nuts, man. Cool Cats as well.
Sheesh.
Doodles. Yeah, Moonbirds are down significantly.
Moonbird.
There's nothing holding on to value. I know you're big into DGods. How is the DGods doing outside of this? And what are your thoughts on the NFT marketplace in general, and maybe this visual chart that I had pulled up?
Yeah, and I'll see if I can pull up a chart here showing the relative strength of these projects in a little bit. But if I can, it might take me a second to get that chart pulled up. But DGods are doing actually really well. Not surprisingly well, but they are doing well. And they're, I believe, I want to just get the right number here. It'll only take me a second to look it up. It's
here while you pull it up, I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to the chat. So for those of you that are new, I did see a few new people here. We got Matthew Merrifield, Ral 2.0, Crypto Golfer, J1 Turf, Crypto Crabman, One Right Sir, Joe Hollywood. And so to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. We got 150 people in here and less than 50% like ratio. So, don't make me get David's desk to tell you to hit the like button, but we're going to get David's desk to tell you to hit the like button. If you've hit the like button, put hola in the chat as well. We always appreciate that. And I wonder if David's going to let this fly when he comes back.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. All right, now Yeah, so hit the like button, drop an Ola if you already did that, and let's get this thing going. All right, so I'll send it back to you, Forrest.
Yeah, so I've got kind of the spaghetti chart of these different projects up here for the last 90 days. If we were able to actually zoom out past further back than 90 days, you'd actually see that and take into account like the Solana data for when DGods came over from Solana. We would see a better picture here for DGods. But even in the last 90 days, there's 3 projects here that are positive in terms of price action. I know this is a little bit difficult to see on the live stream. I wish I could zoom in. Unfortunately, I can't. You have over the last 90 days, CryptoPunks are up 11%. Redacted Remilio Babies is like a derivative of Miladies, kind of a weird project there, but that's up 9%. And then DGods are actually up 5% over the last 90 days. And you look at the rest of the market, you look at Moonbirds down 35%, Captains down 35%, Doodles down 40%, Bored Apes down 48% in the last 90 days, right? And these are projects that you heard referred to as blue chips, right? You have Azuki down 116%. So 116% is based on the relative strength of the starting point. So this isn't like a actual 116%. You can't go below, right, 116%, but this is a spaghetti chart from like a certain 90-day start point. So against the rest of the market, DGods are actually holding up really well. And the reason that is because people are speculating, right, that there's going to be some big thing happening in DGods season 3. So DGods breaks their releases down into seasons, and essentially every season you get an art upgrade. So that means like they add they don't dilute the collection, they just add a new piece of art to the actual metadata, so you can swap between season 1, season 2, season 3 art. And they're going to be doing some cool stuff with point staking. And yeah, I mean, ultimately projects that NFT projects that, so here's my overall view on the NFT market. I think you're going to have art, like strictly art-based NFTs, such as Fidenzas, that have no utility whatsoever, but people are actually buying them to collect as actual real art. You see Snoop Dogg's a big art collector, and there is a community of people out there, and these pieces of art are much less liquid than a lot of other projects. But if it's just strictly viewed as art, I do think that that'll have its own market, and you'll see those projects and those collections hold on to their value quite a bit. But the PFPs, in my opinion, unless there's some form of yield attached, then I think most of them are going to fail and continue to fail. Unless there's some way to drive value back to the holders, and by drive value back to the holders, quite bluntly, I mean make the holders money. I don't think you're going to see these NFTs hold on to their value or bounce back. The reason Bored Ape Yacht Club was able to reach a $450,000 price floor is because they, in the middle of a bull market, they just kept minting new projects and giving them to their holders. So there's a ton of demand, which there's not anymore. There's no demand, right? There's a ton of demand, and Bored Apes just, air mutant apes. They minted the Other Side deeds. They minted the Bored Ape Kennel Club. And if you owned a Bored Ape, you were just getting all these NFTs, and you could just turn around and sell them for profit. You were making, if you were a Bored Ape holder, you made over $100,000 just for holding on to the Bored Ape. You got the ape coin, right? The ape coin that you could turn around and stake for more ape coin and make money that way. It was just a ridiculous, it made sense to pay a lot for a Bored Ape because at the time you were making a ton of money by holding it. Now there's no demand for NFTs. The supply of the Yuga ecosystem is super diluted. And the cash machine or the cash cow has run dry. So you're seeing the valuations of these Bored Apes fall, and I don't think they're going back to $450,000 anytime soon. And to put it quite bluntly, any projects that aren't able to provide some sort of value or yield or rewards for their holders, I don't think you're going to see a large amount of capital flowing into those projects to push prices up. I just don't think the demand is there unless you can find a way to pay your holders.
Man, it's basically $500,000. Like, could you imagine sitting there and I never advocate for a Lambo, but could you ever imagine being like, all right, I can get 2 Lambos or this JPEG? I mean, like, that's crazy to me. Like, and I get it. You know, you can look at art as subjective. There are people that pay, you know, tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars for very rare art pieces. But this is 1 of 10,000. And I don't think that in a 1 of 10,000 set, there are famous artists out there that have prints. Prints are not something that's new to modern day. They did have prints back in the day before they had like machinery. And one time I was in art class, just want to throw that out there, and I did make my own print of a lion. It was pretty cool. You can just keep making as many of these as you basically make a stencil, and then you just keep wetting it with ink, and then you can do different colors. You can have like multiple stencils. Anyways, so artists do have prints historically, but to the magnitude of 10,000, I don't think so. So I think the valuation was just unrealistic at the time, and it begs, brings up the question, like, will we ever see a $500,000 NFT again? Is that something that was a byproduct of the money printing and the airdropping of the COVID relief funds and people just not knowing what to do with money? I don't know. I would say I'm about 50-50 if we ever see a $500,000 1 of 10,000. I'll put it that way. I do think that you can create scarcity, and that there will be a move to NFTs that do not have a circulating supply of 10,000 and for a set. And I do think that those perhaps can call up some big prices. But that formula that we currently have, 1 of 10,000, I don't think we're going to see $500,000. That's my own personal insight. I want to shift the conversation over to Bitcoin. Got a couple things to talk about. One is Japan. So you have Japan's prime minister says he is creating an environment to promote Bitcoin and crypto. So this is the prime minister. So unlike our president, the prime minister there is pro Bitcoin and saying, hey, let's promote this thing and crypto, not just Bitcoin. Also, put in perspective, Japan is the 3rd largest economy globally per GDP. Behind China and the US, obviously. And this is a big move. And so this is only the first step. I'm excited to see what steps they're going to take next, what this means and what this translates into. Are they going to be holding some Bitcoin in their government treasury, perhaps? I don't know if that's a thing. I know that nation states do this with gold, precious metals, and other commodities. Particularly oil is a very strong asset that countries hold and reserve. Could we see something like Bitcoin be in the reserve asset for a nation state, especially one as big as Japan? If you saw something like that, it would be an absolute game changer. Supply shock to a level we've never seen before. We're not talking about whale games. We're talking about global games, by nation states. So I'm very, very proud of what Japan's doing here. In stark contrast to what we've seen with the energy FUD coming out of California. And, California's been going backwards when it comes to crypto innovation. And so for me, I look at Japan, look at California, and I say to myself, I'm like, those are pretty similar land masses, right? They're like long and they look like a cut off fingernail. Anyways, I propose a trade here. So for those that would like to offer California for Japan, I put this motion out there. So if anybody wants to put this in a bill format, submit it to Congress, I support this. And if you put this in a bill, you'll have Sin City Crypto's full support. Let's do a swap. I love sushi anyway, so let's do it. Why not? Right?
Like
It's probably similar GDPs, right? California's got a pretty strong GDP, so I don't know. What do you think about a full-on swap? California for Japan. You think it's fair?
Oh, let's do it. I would love to live in Japan. I'd love to go to Japan. I'd move out there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, especially being in Vegas, it's only a 4-hour car trip out there. So
Right,
instead of taking that 16-hour plane ride, hey, why not just hop in a car? So All right, so moving on to a little bit more Bitcoin insight here. We have Spencer Schiff. That is, well, Peter Schiff's son, who's also here. Just to put it in context, he is. Let's see here. Oh no, this is a picture. Anyways, Mr. Schiff has blocked us. I don't know. I don't think we've ever talked crap about him. But we have about his dad, so maybe he just, if somebody, I guess if somebody talk crap about my dad, I'd probably block him too. So, we'll leave that for another discussion. But Peter Schiff, he penned a letter explaining why he separated with Bitcoin. This seems like somebody that's breaking up with their girlfriend. He seems on one hand sad, but he kind of gives you his motive. So he says, "If I was better at saving money, maybe I would do that. My whole net worth is basically like my phone, my clothes, etc. LOL. At one point, I had my savings in BTC, but I had to sell that to cover some expenses. But honestly, I don't really care about making an effort to save money at this point in my life. A year ago, I was obsessed with Bitcoin, and it caused me a whole lot of stress and hurt my personal life because I was constantly worried about not having enough Bitcoin. I almost dropped out of college just to work as much as possible with BTC, and I'm super glad I didn't go down that road. So now I'm just enjoying how I've had a huge burden lifted off my shoulders since I'm not interested in Bitcoin anymore." Wow, that's touching. It brought a tear to my eye, man. You know,
It just sounds like somebody that invested way more than they could afford to lose, like was not being smart. And just like, if your investment in Bitcoin or crypto is causing you extreme stress, you've either got to make peace with that and know that you're taking a big risk and live with that risk, or you've just invested way too much and you gotta dial it back.
Yeah, here's where this is where he messed up right here, right? At one point, I had savings in BTC, but had to sell to cover some expenses. So do not invest anything you're not willing to let go of long term. And that's, I think, we've all been there. I'm not saying that, I'm some guy that's, practices this and has never slipped up. In the past, I've invested money I couldn't afford to invest in, but that was a learning lesson for me. And, this is rule number one. So, obviously, you buy at one point through the hype, market falls out, you have to sell, you're selling at the bottom, taking a loss, and I think the man's just simply bitter. All right, so moving on, we do have a new lawsuit, and so we have a beef. You have an ongoing debate or ongoing rivalry between X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook, formerly known Meta, formerly known as Facebook, and Zuckerberg. Well, they want to hash it out in the octagon and fight it out. You also have Meta launching their Threads platform, which is supposed to be a competition to X. Man, there's so many new names here. I don't even know where to go. But anyways, so Meta is suing for X. They're saying that they have a trademark on X. Like, you can't trademark a letter, man. Stop it right now. Like, how do you, like, you try to tell me you have a trademark on a letter? Like, I know you got a lot of money. You can go to court for all this. I feel like this is a losing battle, my personal opinion. But anyways, here is the paperwork. And so Meta's saying, like, hey, X is ours, and so we are suing you.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you got anything you want to add on this there, Forrest? Pretty straightforward.
Hold on, like, how Microsoft owns the trademark, but Microsoft owns the trademark, but they're suing Twitter.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Who is suing Meta? That's bizarre. So they're all three
I didn't notice
involved
that. Yeah.
in some way. Yes, Microsoft owns the trademark, but then they're suing Twitter.
They might have sold it to them originally. Maybe they were the original purchaser.
Bizarre.
Yeah, this is 2003. Yeah, so it looks like Meta bought that from Microsoft. I don't know. I can't give you any context. I'm just going off the dates.
Yeah, I mean, look, I personally don't like the brand or trademark X. Like, I don't think it's a great. I don't know, just like it makes sense to tweet something out, but like I'm like Xing. I'm Xing something out. Like Xing, like, it's weird. I think it's going to take a lot of getting used to. I'm not personally a fan of the branding, but obviously I'll still use it.
So I think it's more. I think that no matter what he would have picked, it would have had a bad taste because we've had
Yeah.
Twitter around. When did Twitter launch? It was like 2007 or something like that. I don't remember the exact year, but it's been around for quite some time. So we've gotten accustomed to it. And here you have the richest man in the world just coming out and buying things just because he can. And then he takes something that we're so accustomed to and changes the name. It'd be like somebody buying Costco and then they change the name to like Funland. It's like come on, man. I love shopping there, man. Like, I love hanging out on Twitter, and so now you change the name. So I feel like he would have went the wrong direction in people's eyes no matter what. And I think X is actually kind of simple. So, versus a name or something a little bit more, I think it's a little easier to grasp. But I think, in my personal opinion, I think that the man is trying to change the services. And so a lot of times you have to reinvent yourself to make a radical change, right? And so if you change your name, and then at that point, maybe you can justify turning your platform into the new WeChat, which I was going to cover this later. I was going to get into the CBDC. We'll leave that for the end. But since we're kind of on this subject, anyways, I want to discuss this X platform and the meme coins. And so, or not meme coins, but X platform, Elon Musk, and maybe this might have something to do with the rise in the meme coin prices as of lately. So Elon Musk says X will offer the entire financial world in coming months. In light of Twitter's rebranding, Elon Musk says users can expect to conduct their entire financial world via the X platform in the coming months. This isn't years, this is months. And Elon Musk shared an update with the users for more information on Twitter's rebranding to X, saying it's part of a larger plan to incorporate financial services on the platform. And then he says in an interview, Musk he says that if executed correctly, the potential to encompass half of the global financial system with plans for banking, payments, and more. And some have likened the X app to China's WeChat. And so I do have this video here pulled up as well. So taking a look, I'm just going to kind of play this. It's about 2 minutes, so pretty interesting.
There's a lot of great things that are going to come out. Obviously, payments down the road, maybe later this year, and improving the direct message stuff. Obviously, enabling full encryption and video and voice calls, and just basically solving, like, basically, if there's something you want to do, you can do it on this sort of X everything app, or you can leave easily and do it somewhere else. Essentially, if done right, the X would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used to thinking about banks. Mm-hmm. Just the most efficient database for the thing that is money. Like I said, like least amount of fraud.
And I'll stop it there. So, wow, man, this is was he planning this the whole time when he was looking to buy Twitter? Because he started his first company with PayPal, which was also branded as X.com, by the way. Go figure. And now he bought Twitter, changed it to X, and is touting that he is looking to get half of the world's financial transactions on his platform. And you see this actively on WeChat, and this is a very similar social media platform on this is so very similar media platform in China, and they have all their financial services integrated there. And we know that most of the world uses the American financial system, the SWIFT system, the dollar is a world reserve currency. So in Elon Musk's position, you think about it like, wow, well, if we had a WeChat version that everyone uses, Twitter, and everyone just transacted financially on there, I mean, it's pretty much by default, you have half of the world's money flowing through your platform. And if you're just taking point something% of each transaction, whew, man, my man's onto something here. And so, is the smartest man in the room playing chess 10 moves ahead of everyone else? And he bought Twitter saying he wanted to get rid of the bots. Or was there more to it? I will say this, that I think that this is inevitable. We see it in every other market. The financial markets tend to move a little slower than the rest of the markets, which is why we're seeing that, money moving digitally took as long as it did, lagged behind the rest of the industries. But we see it in, you can sit here and say, oh man, you like the nostalgia of going to the store and, going to your fashion store, you go to your electronics store, you go to your comic book store. And so growing up, before the internet really got into the marketplaces, you had a specialty store for everything. For your shoes, for your repair, everything. You listed, there was an individual store for that. These services got monopolized, essentially, got scooped up by larger businesses, Walmart, and then in turn, Amazon. And so these services are going away and they're centralizing into one company. And we've seen that in China. And I think what we're going to see here, even if this X thing doesn't do it, at some point, we're going to be in a situation where we do use our phone for everything. It's pretty much our computer. And on top of that, financially is going to be the same thing. And so one app to rule them all, is it X? I don't know. What do you think, Forrest, about this here? So,
yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think the analogy, the perfect analogy, like you said, is Walmart. Like why go to like 6 different stores when you can just get a basic version of anything and everything at Walmart at a good price? So, no, I mean, like, why go to Cash App to send money to somebody when you could do it directly through Twitter, and you could, also converse with that person. You could DM them. You could, you talk to them. You can share things socially. Like any app that you can think of, why not just build it into a larger, bigger, better app where that already has more users? I think it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, I think it's inevitable. And I think. Was he thinking this from the beginning? Probably, maybe. We'll see. It seems hard to imagine that he wasn't, or that he didn't have this in the back of his mind. I think his first order of business has been to get profitable and to stop burning money at such a fast pace. But I also think now with a larger vision like this, if he were to need additional financing for Twitter, I think he can get additional financing when he starts talking about half the world's payments globally, or half the global financial transactions. All of a sudden, investors are like, oh yeah, I'll take a risk on this, especially when it's Elon Musk. So yeah, bigger vision. All of a sudden, that valuation goes way up from where it was with the existing revenue model.
My thing is,
I think it makes sense. Oh, go ahead.
Will the banks allow it? Because essentially, you're taking money from the banking sector, and will there be a unfortunate accident for Elon Musk if he were to go down this road? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, it's like the banks allow Cash App, the banks allow Zelle. I think they're integrated with Zelle, but what's the other one? Venmo, like Venmo, like all these other apps are taking financial transactions away from,
But you're seeing
other parties.
You're seeing Zelle on the banking platform. So, they're taking their cut in some way, shape, or form there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some some connections between those other apps you mentioned. And I just feel like Elon Musk might not. Yeah, I don't know, man. And so, which leads me to my next point, because I haven't really, I'm starting to reevaluate the amount of control, the amount of conspiracy theories, and what's going on, who's pushing this narrative. We got Choke Point 2.0. You have a lot of suppressed news. I mean, even Elon Musk, when he took over Twitter, hey, he had those Twitter files or whatever it was, or hey, the government was actively censoring or picking and choosing what tweets to delete. And so I came across this interesting video here. So here, I got a couple things. Rocco, I'm going to pull this up real quick. So we have here a creepy man sitting behind the senator, blinking with one eye and standing still for more than 15 minutes.
Some fiction spy thriller, but it actually happened, and it happened.
Like this dude, and I watched this in its entirety. He literally does not flinch his head. Is he controlling this congressman with some mental waves here? And also, if you look at this dude's eye, he only blinks with his right eye. It's the weirdest. Look, there it is. Like I'm telling you, he blinks with one eye. This man's either a robot, an alien, and this man is under his control. I don't know.
Probably computer generated.
No, this is real. This is real. I mean, actually, I can't validate it, but
It's probably
but one that I know is real because I've
CGI.
seen a bunch of different versions. So if you follow us on Twitter, I posted this the other day, and so this is earlier, and so this lady in the back over here, and so she is mouthing. Or here, this one doesn't have any audio. Let me play this one here. So this is the one we posted on our Twitter here. And I was like, what in the sorcery is this? Is this real life puppets in the government? And so let's see.
Introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employees. Just have some administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow.
I'm telling you, man, I don't know what kind of mind control is going on over here at the government, but it's creeping me the hell out, bro. So, I don't know, man. There's at least these representatives have statements prepared by other people and aren't at least they're a puppet in that sense. I'll say that. We had what was it? We had Elizabeth Warren was caught giving prepared questions to Gary Gensler. So you could take this conspiracy theory as far as you want to take it. You could put aliens behind it. You could say the dude's a robot, whatever. But you can't dispute the fact that there's prepared statements for these representatives that it's somebody's writing them. That's all I'm saying. And there's a lot of financial persuasion going on. And hey, I don't know, man. What do you think, man? David's normally the conspiracy guy, but I had to bring this up. I couldn't hold on.
Look, I'm happy to be, look, I'm very cynical. I'm open-minded to all that stuff. I think in the two videos, my guess would be that those people are zonked out on drugs. I think that guy that's not blinking, I think he's on some sort of like deep amphetamine trip, hasn't slept in 4 days and he's just like zoned into whatever it is he's saying and not blinking. I think probably the lady that was like mouthing the words too, she looked like she was on drugs. I would imagine that like amphetamine productivity boosting drugs are probably really, really popular in the White House. We've seen the cocaine, right? Or we've heard about the rumors, the alleged use of cocaine by some people in the White House. So I bet drugs are super, super popular there, especially like amphetamines, productivity boosting stuff. I would imagine that's what it is. But yeah, I'm like completely open-minded to the idea that like it's pretty rigged. It's pretty for show. It's prepared statements. It's all just a matter of the real conversations likely happen behind closed doors, and then everything that's being filmed and released to the public is premeditated.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I'm questioning how much that we are presented with has been manipulated to a point where, hey, why don't you go out and start this narrative? Why don't you go say this instead of having a true discussion like politicians are supposed to have on issues that need to be addressed? And I think that's essentially what I want to bring up. I think that there's so much politics, which exactly what we have here, being run in the background, and perhaps not as much interest in doing what's right and, you know, working to improve our lives. Right now, I want to get into just a quick shout out. We do have a few new people here. If you are new, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We have Panther Man, Kenny O, Gorgonzola. We got XILLIX, and then we got Xober, Mark Smith, Free Fra, and then also Jimmy gifted 10 memberships as well. So big shout out to you, Jimmy. And for all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. All right, so our main topic today, what we really wanted to talk about, and then for this, we have the Federal Reserve of San Francisco is hiring an architect for a CBDC project. And so San Francisco's Federal Reserve is seeking a crypto architect for central bank digital currency project. This was on an Indeed job post. According to the description, the employee will work on CBDC research and development. Now, the position is full-time and hybrid with an annual salary of $134,000. Not too bad. And candidates are to have knowledge on distributed system implementation, cryptographic protocols, hashing, public and keys, signing, consensus algorithm, and security. It sounds awfully familiar to blockchain technology. Well, leave it at that. But we also have, we're looking for a lead application developer to implement an example system to a CBDC, and you will merge directly with management and other developers. And also, a team of crypto developers have been forming in San Francisco for at least since February, when they began looking for software engineers to help develop a CBDC initiative. The recruitment efforts contradict the public stance of the Federal Reserve Board on CBDCs, which on July 19th, so a couple weeks ago, the central bank said that on Twitter that it had not yet decided whether to issue CBDCs and would only proceed with the assurance that CBDCs are within law. Now, there has been opposition here. You got presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis vowed to ban CBDCs in the United States if elected as president. He said, "If I am president, on day one, we will nix central bank digital currencies. Done. Dead. Not happening. Not in this country," he said during one of his financial or family leadership summits in Iowa. And so to take a look at the job post, which is expired, they found their candidate perhaps, but here is the post on Indeed. And so a couple highlights here: implement novel systems related to CBDCs, and then here, hands-on programming with experience developing production applications, C++, Python, and Amazon Web Services. That's interesting. Now, knowledge in distributed systems, implementation, cryptographic protocols. I mentioned this earlier, but I was reading it again just to emphasize, such as hashing, public and private key pairs, and signing, consensus algorithms, and security. And this is, just to clarify, we had the FedNow launching a week ago. And so here's a question. Is the FedNow services replacing cash? Is it a central bank digital currency? Well, the answer from the Fed is no. The Fed service now is not related to a digital currency. The FedNow service is a payment service and the Federal Reserve and making available banks to credit unions and transfer funds. And so this isn't where it stops either. Now you have here, before we get into the discussion, we also got Vladimir Putin approves Russian CBDCs to launch in August. Well, that's only a week away. And so the world's largest country by landmass is set to roll out a digital ruble next week after Russian President Vladimir Putin green-lighted the project on Thursday. The text of the bill amends Russian civil code to allow the digital ruble to be used for payments while empowering Russia's central bank to let real citizens use the currency starting on August 1st. Wow. Didn't waste any time there. Now, accounts for the digital ruble will be managed directly by the central bank rather than commercial banks. In a statement shared by Russian media, central bank governor clarified that the use of the central bank currency is purely optional. Is it? Now, we really hope that it will be more convenient, cheaper for both people, businesses, and they will start to use it, she said. This is a new opportunity. The currency will be programmable to implement certain transaction limits and restrictions on what citizens can spend their money on. Well, no more buying 2 loaves of bread because we have a wheat shortage. So your money is no good here. Now, I'm going to send this over to you first, Forrest. What do you think about the job post? Are you looking for employment? Because I know we're in a bear market. I don't know if you're out here searching the Indeed jobs. I know you got a little bit of programming experience under your belt. Are you putting are you putting in an application for the San Francisco Fed?
No. They would have to quadruple that salary to get me to move out to California, let alone San Francisco. I just looked at the real estate prices out there. It's like for $1.5 million, you don't get much.
What if it was the Japan Fed? Because we're
Japan. I'm out there.
Okay.
You swap California and Japan out. Yeah, I'm moving for less. No, jokes aside. CBDCs, I think it's obvious that they're inevitable globally. Obviously, from the Russia thing, they're already on their way. Ron DeSantis says he's gonna ban them day one. So depending on who's elected in 2024, maybe the U.S. has them by then. Maybe they are banned by then. So I think the jury's still out on whether or not the U.S. will adopt a CBDC anytime soon. But I think globally, like communist countries, like Russia, people that have dictators, China, I'm sure will have a CBDC very soon if they don't already, or if they don't already have it in the works. Ultimately, it's a better way to control the spending habits and the financial transactions of your people. So if you're a government that wants a lot of control, then what better way to do so than through a CBDC? It's just like the icing on the cake.
Do you think there's a CBDC on the horizon here in the States? Now, I think that there's been 2 ongoing narratives that I've kind of been aware of on social media, even outside of social media, on traditional media, is that, hey, CBDCs are coming whether you want them or not. And then there's also a narrative that, like, hey, we don't want CBDCs. Politicians are speaking out against it. And the likelihood of a CBDC here in the States is not really practical, at least not in the short term. Could we get a hybrid version with this Fed now? Do you see a CBDC within the next 4 years for us? I mean, I know this isn't your expertise. It isn't mine either, but just a fun speculation. Do you think that's something that's possible?
Depends on the president. Yeah, I think it is possible, but I think if you get a Republican president, it's probably less likely. It'd be less supported. But it seems like while the red states and supporters seem to be more pro crypto, they also seem to be more anti CBDC. But depending on who's elected in 2024, I think you could potentially see a CBDC if it's something that's being prioritized by the higher up powers. 4 years to develop a CBDC doesn't seem that crazy.
All right. Well, we got one more topic here. It's pretty simple. The meme coin market has rallied significantly, and so the economy. And this article was written 2 days ago, and the market has rallied a lot more since then. But just put a perspective how we got here. Over the past 30 days, Dogecoin has increased by 10%. Remember, this is without the pump that we had in the last 24 hours, and has risen by 1.3 against the US dollar. And then SHIB has increased 1% over the past month as well. SHIB accounts for 28% of net value in the meme coin economy. And if you combine Dogecoin and SHIB, it accounts for 90.41% of meme coins. So to put their dominance into perspective, we have less than 10% in the rest of the economy, which, hey, we know that Pepe, the largest meme coin, third largest meme coin asset, it's up 1.6%. This has a total of 3.85. Well, there's really not a lot of money sloshing through the smaller meme coin projects. Just something to keep in mind. And the meme coin economy has grown 528 million in global trade volume as well lately. I know, Forrest, you wanted to take a quick look at maybe some meme coin charts before we sign off.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Meme coins. So my my thesis, or at least my thoughts on why I think meme coins are running so hard recently, and why you're seeing stuff like Pepe emerge, is if we go to Bitcoin, like I mentioned earlier, it's just Bitcoin's very boring right now. It's very choppy, very sideways, and when people are bored and people don't necessarily have a ton of money, or they feel crunched by inflation, whatever it is, people turn to gambling. And meme coins are a great way to gamble. They're very volatile. They're very volatile. And so this is Dogecoin's chart going back to 2014. I'm gonna draw your attention to. Let me make this line a little bit thicker there so you guys can see this. Look, every time Dogecoin has taken out its long-term downtrend line, you get like a big pump. A big pump, 2 tests of the downtrend line, you breach it, and then you get a large markup. There we go. This is CoinTrader Pro, so it's a little bit annoying when you go back to like the beginning of a chart. Same thing over here on the last time. We had this long, how long was this till we broke? 1,071 days. You had 2 tests of this downtrend level. The third try, you just ripped through, and we saw like a multi-1,000%. There we go, multi-1,000% markup, 21,000% markup, like a 200x. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to Dogecoin right here, but this is a pattern that we have seen. This has been an 800-day consolidation phase, 812 days roughly. We may see something. We may see this range further out like this, and maybe in a few months we'll be drawing something like this, and then we get the large markup. Right? You could have drawn all of these different trend lines in different ways, but even so, once you take out this trend line, right, you get a large markup, and then it comes back down. So whether or not we continue to range sideways or not into some sort of a trend line and then markup, Dogecoin's getting to that point where you can start to expect, if history repeats itself, a bit of speculation coming into the market. And you have that underscored by the idea here that, and I'll go to a different Dogecoin chart, a zoomed in one. You have this underscored by the idea that Elon Musk is building the biggest app in the world, and he loves Dogecoin. He's got it in his bio on Twitter. He's very likely to integrate it in some way, whether or not it's the focal point or the center point of X or Twitter as we know it today, is unclear. Like I doubt all financial transactions on Twitter would be done in Dogecoin. That just doesn't make any sense. I think Elon's smarter than that, but it's a great marketing tool. It's a great way for him to be like, just integrate crypto and do Dogecoin payments, Dogecoin tipping, Dogecoin donations like you do on like Twitter or whatever. Pay out creators in Dogecoin, whatever it is. I think he's going to leverage Dogecoin probably in a big way for marketing. We saw it, like all anyone talked about was Twitter when Twitter changed their logo to the Dogecoin logo. People were super excited about it, and it was a great marketing tactic. So we're actually seeing price action here that, in my opinion, so I grabbed kind of a fractal here. From Stacks. This was a coin that ripped upwards, but you took out your downtrend line with some really nice consolidated price action, took out that downtrend line, and then it just ripped up. You got this large markup, and that's something that we've seen before. So I'm not sitting here saying ape into Dogecoin is going to the moon. It might just mark up to a range high, right? It might just mark up to 10 cents and then come back down and test 6 and then bounce around, right? And then get a large markup once we get closer to the Bitcoin halving, if it does at all. But we're in a period of time where we're seeing some speculation there. On a shorter term time frame, if I zoom into the 4 hour, and the reason that I took a long on this is just because I liked this uptrend here. I saw that we were approaching this downtrend, and we know that we can get a large markup once we get through this downtrend resistance, and that's what's happened. But you also had this kind of ascending triangle, right? You had this ascending triangle pattern. You get through that resistance, and then it runs up. Same thing on Shiba Inu. I won't spend a ton of time on Shiba Inu, but it's essentially in a very similar pattern. It's just less developed, and oftentimes you see the Dogecoin rotation from Dogecoin to Shiba Inu, and this is again, I'm not saying anybody go long on Shiba Inu right now. I went long. I'm currently in a long on both. And I'm not a big fan of meme coins, but that's the charts just both look really good. It's developing. We've gotten a nice little bounce here. So the way you trade an ascending triangle is you just wait for that touch on the trend line. You go long on the trend line. That's where I entered, right? So far we're up a little bit, right? If it comes back down and breaks this trend line, we stop ourselves out up here in profit. Right. And for the time being, we just have the stop loss outside the trend line. If it breaks the trend line, the trade's over. The pattern's busted, and we may range back down over here. So we cut the trade early, and we look for another entry point or at a later date or on another coin. But the markup that these meme coins can see is very, very high. And if I go to this tool here, the risk reward here is pretty decent, because your invalidation is just on the other side of that trend line, and these ascending triangles can run quite high. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 30-40% pump out of Shiba Inu, 25%, roughly 25%. So that would be a really solid, nice trade, and pretty decent risk reward. That's like 8-to-1 risk reward from where we're at right now. And my entry is closer to a 10-to-1 risk reward, assuming we get to 0.0001 or whatever this is. Meme coins are kind of annoying to trade because they have so many zeros. But yeah, the charts look good. People are bored. They're speculating on meme coins. You've got Twitter rebranding from X. Who knows? Maybe Twitter, or maybe Dogecoin's done for, and this is the extent of the pump. It probably heavily depends on what Bitcoin does from here, and Bitcoin's kind of spilling off a little bit. But if Bitcoin can recover and retest $30,000 or so, don't be surprised if we get a little Dogecoin pump up to 10 cents or maybe higher. That's kind of what I'm speculating on.
I don't spend too much time on the charts. I'm more sentiment and more about short-term price history. And I just look at Doge. It's up 20% on the week, and where Doge has moved, SHIB has historically moved with it. And SHIB is up 2% on the week. So I feel like that gap will be filled. Will we see as much as 30%, like you said? Maybe. I could see it, man. The SHIB community never surprises me when you get these big price movements. Now, let's go. We're running out of time, so we're going to wrap it up. But before, I want to give one more shout out to our channel sponsor, Kansas Blue Wire Tech. If you are running a business and you have network and IT needs, well, look no further than Kansas Blue Wire Tech. We got their description in the video below as well. All right, Forrest. Well, and it is, we're going to have David back tomorrow. I say that a little bit of sorrow, but I miss the guy. I'm very happy to have him back on here. So I'll have David back tomorrow. We'll have you back on Friday as well for the normal trifecta. And for those of you that are watching, I got to go through my normal rundown here. Go check out our merch store, In and Out Crypto. It's printed on Rocco's hat. And we have not only Sin City merch, but there's a lot of other merch on there as well. XRP fans, Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's all in there. Cardano as well. And we got things for ladies, things for guys. We got dog merchandise up there, Rocco. There is. Yeah.
It's a jacket with a Bitcoin logo. And I think they got one with the Shiba Inu too. In the pocket.
Yeah. Well, if it's the dog's birthday coming up, get them something nice. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna wrap this thing up. Forrest, we'll see you Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. Finger Tornado out. Let's go.
Sin City Crypto. Cash is cool, yeah.
Sin City, crypto, everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in, for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in then you win, we divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David, I split the game but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite, I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners, special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners, ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors, they gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado